Hey guys, happy Tuesday. It's Daryl here. It is 10 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. I want to talk to you guys about some of Donald Trump's statements. I hope there's some Trump supporters watching because I need a few things clarified for me. I'm going to start off with, I was listening to Donald Trump talking about how Joe Biden has dark shadows around him. That's his quote. Dark shadows. There's dark shadows around Joe Biden. And I started thinking back to 2016. I started thinking back to Hillary and emails. Oh my gosh, the emails. Whatever. I got to ask you guys, what happened to the emails? It was Hillary and emails, right? What about these emails? What happened about, we know that the Republicans won the House, the Senate, and the presidency, right? So there was no Democrats getting in the way. They had the Justice Department. It was all in Trump's court. Now, supposedly Hillary was, so evil with the deep state and all this stuff and these emails. What happened to the emails? Whatever happened to that? The Democrats couldn't have gotten in the way because the Republicans had everything: the Senate, the Congress, the presidency, all branches. They could have prosecuted the bejesus out of her. Why didn't they? Whatever happened to that? Nobody ever talked about it again. Trump never talked about it again. That's odd. It's odd because, it sounded so serious. Oh my God, 30,000 emails. What these emails said, who they were to, nobody knows. And then, of course, there was Obama and the birther stuff. That, he wasn't born in the country. So now we have Joe Biden and dark shadows. There's dark shadows around Joe Biden. All right, so this is the way Trump explained this. That there was one of his supporters who were on their way to the Republican National Convention on a plane. Coach, I guess, right? It's one of the average airlines. And this Trump supporter, it got back to Donald Trump. I don't know if it was directly to Trump from this, mouth to mouth to ear, right from this person to Trump's ear. I don't know. But Trump said he described this. He said that this supporter saw dozens of people dressed in all black, equipped with various instruments. You could find the quotes. This is what he said. This is what Donald Trump just said. I believe it was yesterday. I believe it was Monday or Sunday. All right? Dozens of people. And this is part of the dark shadow group that's following Biden around now. Yep. So that's what he's talking about. I got a couple questions for if there's any Trump supporters watching. Okay, now I'm assuming that dark shadows is part of deep state. Okay, now I would think that the deep state is well equipped, well funded. I'd imagine to stay in hiding all this time and support, to fund all their nefarious activities and whatnot. You'd think that they have some loot, right? So why would they be flying coach? That's my first question. My second question is, if you're part of the deep state and the dark shadow groups, wouldn't you want to try to stay low key? You don't get to be the deep state by being obvious, right? So why dress all alike on this plane? Why bring attention to yourselves? Why have dozens of your deep state buddies all dress in black with all of your various instruments of nefarious means? Why be obvious? I don't understand that. If there's any Trump supporters, I have these three questions. What happened to the emails? How come Hillary hasn't been brought to justice for these emails? I need to know this. And my second question is, why would the deep state or the dark shadow group now, why would they fly coach? You'd think they'd have money. At least maybe they could charter their own airplane, right? And I'm kind of curious where they were going, because I guess they never showed up at the Republican National Convention. Maybe their luggage got mishandled. I don't know if the deep state even carries luggage with them, or the dark shadow group. All right, and third of all, is that the uniform of the deep state? Do they all wear black? Is it like the official uniform of the deep state? Serious questions now. Okay, so now on a serious note, Trump talked a little bit more about what's going on in Kenosha and Portland and whatnot. One of the reporters, I don't know where she was from, it was a female reporter, and she asked about how Trump condemned the violence going on in Kenosha and Portland. But she brought up the paintball guns and the bear mace or whatever that's, the bear repellent spray that we see these, they're all driving around these big jacked up trucks, which screams small below the waist. They're all driving around these big pickup trucks. These to make up for what they're lacking. But anyway, I'm off subject. So she asked about these paintball guns and the bear mace. You know, what about that? So this was Trump's response. He said, well, they were just firing. You know, it was paintballs. And then he said, well, what about in Portland, they fired a real munition. I got to be careful how I phrase this. I can't use some certain words. But there was the incident in Portland where somebody lost their life. So he jumped over to there and said, well, at least they're firing paintballs and not real actual munitions like in Portland. So it's okay. You know, that's how he kind of justified. And these guys are supposedly firing frozen paintballs and spraying this bear mace and whatnot. And then he quickly went to another reporter and skipped over it. So that was his response. And again, he calls them upstanding patriots, just there to protest. That them firing the paintballs and spraying the bear mace and almost running over the protesters and everything, that's okay. That's just legitimate protesting. But anything that the Black Lives Matter movement does, they're anarchists, they're agitators, they're violent agitators. So, let's see, what else? Oh, yeah, so from the White House, again, the White House was asked about his trip to Kenosha, and what do they expect to come out of this? And this was a quote from the White House, that the White House the president expects to bring healing and unity to Kenosha by showing up there. By him going to Kenosha, it's going to bring healing to Kenosha. Even after the governor and the mayor of Kenosha specifically asked him, and they asked him nicely. They said, I believe it was the governor that said, look, we welcome presidents, we welcome candidates to come here, but not right now, which seems perfectly reasonable. If a governor wanted to try to curtail violence, to try to calm things down, talk things out, let things get back to normal, that would probably be the wise thing to do, to not attract more people in by having the president come there. It would seem that the governor is doing his job. It seems like the wise thing to do. By Trump going there, it's going to attract a lot of different groups. Lots of different groups that do not get along. Lots of different groups that are heavily armed. Lots of different groups that are looking specifically for confrontations. So, Trump says that it's the governor now that just isn't handling business, and he's going there to bring unity and healing. So, that's where we're at. Honestly, I think Trump, why is he really going there? I don't know if he really believes that the Black Lives Matter protesters are just going to run and hide. I imagine if he does go today, that we're going to see some interesting video tonight and tomorrow on the news. I'm sure whatever we see, Trump is going to spin it that he went in with an iron fist and took control of the situation and, quelled the violence. I don't know how doing that and bringing healing and unity, I don't know how those two things kind of fit together because they sound a little opposite, but I'm sure the stable genius will tell us and fill us in on everything. So it looks like it's going to happen. So we'll see how it turns out. All right, you guys have a good Tuesday.